your team hub in Confluence and Coda, the question of structure will come into play. And in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about some considerations you should think about and how to best utilize the different structures available and building blocks available to you in Confluence and in Coda for building out your team hub and scaling it as your team grows. So I referenced this tutorial and blog post in the video notes. And I'm just going to kind of go through some of these images or diagrams to show what the differences are between Confluence and Coda when it comes to structure. So this image shows that in Confluence, we have spaces. Usually at the space hierarchy level, you'll have your organization name, your team name, or even a project name. And beneath that, you'll have these pages are basically what we've been building so far in our team hub. These pages are your mission, your meetings, your calendar, and you have multiple pages within each space. So think about space as a kind of the higher level, organization, team, or project. Pages are what the actual content is in your team hub. In Coda, the similar analogy instead of a space is a doc. This is a doc. It's like a Google Doc, but instead it's a Coda doc. And again, at the doc level, you'll have the organization, team, or project. And then within the doc itself, you'll have all of these pages and subpages where you'll have the actual content of your team hub. So that's like the basic building blocks of both Confluence and Coda. If I click on here and I go to spaces, you'll see I have all of my spaces right here. And these are all different spaces. These could be organizations, team, projects. Coda, similarly, you have like a doc list, which I won't show because there's a lot of sensitive information, but you get the idea. You can have a table, a list of all your docs that might represent teams, projects, or organizations. So the issue with this type of structure is what happens when you have let's say you have at the space level or doc level, you have a project A, and then another spaces and doc is project B. And within each space, you might have engineering tasks, marketing tasks, customer support tasks. And each of those teams within your company will have to go to all these different spaces and docs to look for things that they're assigned on. So it ends up, you might end up having a sprawl of spaces and docs, and it makes organization really tough. So that's why I recommend putting everything into one space or one doc so that everything is centralized and everything can stay connected. So in this case, the way we're building out our team hub is we have a space in Confluence or a doc in Coda at the organizational level. And then at the page level, you might have a page for marketing, a page for engineering. And then at the same level, you might have a page for your mobile app project, a website project. And then within those parent pages, you'll have subpages for your team hub, for your projects, and so on and so forth. So really think about how you want to structure this. I recommend having everything in one place because it makes everything connected easier. Otherwise, it might be tempting to put everything into multiple spaces to separate things out. You might have to do that depending on who has permissions to view what content within your organization or your team. But in general, having everything in one space or one doc, for me, I recommend that as a structure solution because it just makes connecting things easier down the road as your team scales. I'm just going to sort through here to see if there's anything else to mention. Nope, that's pretty much it. Here's an example of what the doc list looks like. I kind of grayed out a few things. These docs are individual docs. These could be kind of like spaces in Confluence, but again, you can use docs and spaces to be an organization, team, or project, but I recommend having everything at the org level so that your team or project can be in the pages. And that's how you should think about structuring your spaces in Confluence or your docs in Coda. But this all depends on who should have permissions to your team hub and your project data, how you organizationally are structuring your other tools and applications. So a lot of different considerations to think about when it comes to how you want to structure your Confluence or Coda. But the important thing is to think about how you want to structure it as your team grows and scales, because the last thing you want to do is have this structure. And as you grow, your teams are like, why am I going to 10 different spaces and docs to figure out what I need to do? They will want to have everything in one place. And then that's when you'll start using other features in Confluence and Coda to figure out like how do I aggregate all the things that matter for the marketing team or the engineering team.